Happy Monday. We're live at lunch, and today we are going to stop a binge in its tracks because we all know at this time of year, with all the to-dos and all the responsibilities and all the things you want to do, should do, have to do, etc., the inevitable outcome of all of that, if we haven't been trained in the ways of the food freedom, then the inevitable outcome can tend to take us towards overeating. Why? Because your body is bloody brilliant and it's trying to get you to stop and slow down. And right now you probably have too much on your plate and you're feeling a lot of overwhelm. We're going to explore that and we're going to lighten the load, baby, because if there's one thing that you can gift yourself with today is to stop and watch this for 10, 15 minutes while we just take a moment to breathe, acknowledge where you are, and we'll do a couple of things to just help you lighten everything and ease that overwhelm. We're not going to promise it's going to be gone completely, but let's do what we can, because if we can lighten that overwhelm and you can come away from this video feeling like, you know what, it's going to be okay and I get to choose how this all plays out, then the chances of a binge showing up for you later are dramatically reduced. Now, if you want to make sure that the chances of a binge are negligible, if not non-existent, then now is the time to start considering what you want to do in 2026 to make that happen. If you would like to work with me and the Food Freedom team, then check the links in the description and you'll be able to book a free call. We can talk about how that might look, or just dive in for a 7-day free trial over the Christmas period. So with that in mind, let's make sure we do what we can to help you, serve you today, so that you can show up as you head towards the Christmas period in the best possible place to get some really nice wins in your bag. Or if you've been watching me or working with me for a long time, let's just take you that little bit closer to whatever your vision of freedom is. Because this is it's a journey we're on, right? And every year I experience new little levels of freedom around Christmas time, not just with food, but with everything. And what we're going to talk about today is really a big part of that, because everybody I've worked with, and me too, right? We learn how to navigate this very difficult, overwhelming, challenging time each year, and you just do it a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better until you can approach the festive season being like, I totally got this. I know what I need to do. So let's start. If you are somebody who's struggling with overwhelm, what does that even mean? It means that probably you're exhausted. And check in right now for me into your body and let me know what you're feeling, what exhaustion is showing up like for you. Or it might be anxious, and it's probably a combination of both. Now, overwhelm, in my experience, is both real in that it's showing up physically in the exhaustion that you're bringing into this time of year, but it's mostly imagined. Oh, and I don't think you're going to like hearing that. But here's what I mean. So much of overwhelm is the story that's going on in here that is creating even more exhaustion and struggle than there needs to be based on what is actually happening. So you might actually legitimately have a million things to do right now. Even that is a headwind. You don't have a million. You have many things to do, maybe more than you would like. And certainly you are also coming at the end of the year and you're probably exhausted and all you want to do is just let go and relax. So the exhaustion is physical. It's showing up for you for sure. But what we can do today is really try and change the mental load and turn it into something very empowering. So the thing to know about overwhelm, it's usually based almost predominantly on the story you're telling yourself about what's ahead. So as I'm shooting this live, we're 10 days out from Christmas. So let's use that as a perfect example here. And usually in these last 10 days, we're wrapping up everything at work. There's presents to buy, there's things to organize, there's colleagues to deal with and parties to attend and a million things, right? Now, those are all real, they exist. It's the story you might be telling yourself about them that can be creating even more trouble here. So let's take a breather. We're going to do two things today. One, we're going to start lightening that story. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the story. Some of the story might even be true, but let's see what we can do to help you change that. And the second thing we're going to do is we're actually going to get stuck into your calendars and we're going to have a good look at what you can let go of so that you can come in to the next few days with as light a load as possible. If we've achieved that in the next 10 minutes, that would be amazing. So let's begin. Take a moment now to check in with your body. We never want to jump straight to problem solving without just giving ourselves a moment to check in with what we're feeling. And I bet you're feeling stressed, anxious, worried, overwhelmed, whatever you want to call it. And before we jump into solving any of that, if you were witnessing yourself, and you were a kind, loving friend witnessing yourself right now, what would you say? What would you do? You'd probably say, hey, there's a lot going on for you. Good grief. You look shattered. Oh my word, you've got so much on your plate. How can I help? And you'd probably give your friend a big hug and say, listen, it's going to be okay. And maybe you should even need to have a bit of a cry. Maybe this is one of those moments when you actually check in and you go, whoa, and you start to feel tears coming up. If you can, allow yourself a cry. Allow yourself to feel the feeling of worry and pressure and exhaustion. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it makes complete sense that you might be feeling that way. So let's just take a moment to say, hey, I've got you. I'm going to help you get through this. We'll make it through. Let's do it together. How can I help? Lovely. So we just acknowledge the emotion, because so often our emotions are just begging to be seen. Let's give them that moment. And if you can give yourself a hug, even better, right? Okay. Now let's extract the story. So if you were that friend, you might say, tell me what's going on. Now, without trying to, fix anything yet, just let it out. If you have a piece of paper in front of you right now, grab a journal or something, draw a line down the middle and write out on the left-hand side, literally brain dump, every single thing you can think of. If you're watching this live, pop it in the chat. If you're not watching this live, if you want to share a couple of your thoughts with me that are particularly challenging, you can pop them in the comments later and I can do my best to try and help you resolve those. But the first thing we want to do is just every single thing, everything in your head, get it out of your head onto the paper. It might look like, I've got so much to do. I've got a million things to do. I can't cope. I'm never going to get it all done. Aunt Judy's going to think I look fat in my dress. But Uncle Bob's going to ask me if I'm single again. Just everything. Put it all down. I don't even know how to cook the turkey. I don't have enough money for the kids' presents this year. Whatever. I'm worried about driving to the farm overnight. I don't know. Just write everything down, because that story is creating such a weight because it's circling through your head. Now, if you're watching this in the replay, you'll need to press pause and do this and just give yourself 5 minutes. Scruffy writing. Write it down, write it down, write it down, write it down, write it down. Okay. And when you've done that, take a look at everything you've written and just say to yourself, no wonder I'm feeling this way. Look at all that stuff that's in my head. We're not judging it. Just look at it. There's a lot going on. Anybody thinking those thoughts, having those worries and fears, and that level of to-dos would also be feeling this way right now. Okay. So the story's out of your head. You've given yourself a little hug and you've told yourself, hey, how can I help? Let's take a step back. Later, when you look at this page, you don't have to do this now. You might want to do it later. Just have a look at all of those thoughts. I bet in there are a bunch of expectations that have only been put there by you. I bet there's some stories, like I said, a million things to do. Not true. Realistically, I've got, 10 very busy days ahead of me. Realistically, I've got this many emails. Let's get some reality here. The reality might still be a bit shocking, but let's have a little look. And in that reality, where are there stories I'm telling myself or expectations that I'm holding that I put in there? Where am I holding myself to a standard when nobody else has forced me to do anything, or nobody else is expecting anything of me, or nobody else actually has that judgment? Notice in those headworms where you're telling yourself a story that's not even true. Do I have to cook everything from scratch? Maybe not. Is it true that Uncle Bob is going to have a judgment about me being single? Maybe he understands. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. Look for if you can split out a bit of reality from expectation, because in there's going to be a bunch of expectations. And here's where you'll take your power back. You get to look at your expectations that you are holding yourself to, and you get to let them go. I'm not saying it's easy, but I bet right now you can see a bunch of expectations, a bunch of judgments, a bunch of headworms that you can let go. Hey, you know what? Maybe my house won't be perfectly clean this year. Let it go. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm the only one who thinks I need to have a 5-course, Michelin star meal for the Christmas dinner this year. Let it go. Maybe Uncle Bob doesn't really give a shit whether I'm single or not. Maybe Aunt Judy really isn't judging my body this year. Maybe she's more worried about her own. And if she is, or if he is, I'm going to let it go. I'm on my journey. Let me let it go. Let's put it all down. Go through that list and put down everything that you can. And some of it will still be staring at you and some of it will still feel a bit uncomfortable. But if we can get rid of at least 10% of it, we're already moving in the direction of calm. And calm tends to move us away from binge eating, not towards it. All right. So you've lightened the mental load. Now let's take a look at your diaries. Get your calendar open in front of you and have a look at everything that you have plugged in. Have a look at separating out what has to be done, must be done. There's no way you'd give it up. And where are the things that they would be nice? It would be nice to attend that Christmas party. It would be really cool to go for that coffee with my friend. It would be so lovely to have gifted everybody and sent everybody Christmas cards. These are the would be nices, not the have tos, the would be nice. And then again, in that pile of would be nice, what of those things do I actually want to do? In the would be nice pile, that's where you're putting energy into something that you don't actually have to do, but you're choosing to. And even in there, you might choose to let things go. Because to be honest, if you're exhausted, you might have to say, you know what, I really wanted to go to that exhibition. I really wanted to spend time with my friend, blah. But I'm shattered, and I'm going to let that go. And as you do this, you might notice there's some resistance to letting things go because, again, their expectations are coming in, trying to hold you to a high standard that's exhausting you. Or you have perceived expectations of other people. But here's the big one. You might have to start getting very, very good at disappointing people. Not everybody's going to get the Christmas card. Not everybody's going to get the perfect gift. Some people might have to get a gift voucher instead of a real gift. Whatever expectation you're holding yourself to, it's time to drop them. And that is going to feel incredibly uncomfortable if you're somebody whose worth has in the past, we're going to put this in the past, been tied into how well they serve other people. Just seeing this little comment here. Wow, seeing it all written down in black and white. No wonder I feel overwhelmed. But minus this story, it feels a little less scary. Yeah. Yeah, just a little less scary. You know, sometimes we don't actually change too much of our thinking yet. This is a skill that takes a lot of work. Sometimes the thought's still spiraling. But just even releasing it onto the page, getting out of the head onto the page can be so helpful. And especially even better if you can see things that you were holding yourself to, that it can actually just feel a little bit less scary, a little bit less worrisome. Over time, you're going to get so damn good at this that you'll see headworms from a mile away and you've dropped them before they've even hit, you know. But hands up, I'm a master headworm buster. And there are days when anxiety and overwhelm hits and I do this exact work. So we get rid of it in our head. And now we're going into your calendar and just take 5 or 10 minutes. It is so worth the investment of your time to cull everything that you do not have to do and to keep the things that would be nice to do. But just remember that if you acknowledge on the day or whatever that you don't have to be there, you're choosing to be there, and you realize that actually what you really need is sleep. Can you say no? Can you uninvite yourself? Can you let somebody down? Can you say, can we reschedule? I bet you have a bunch of friends and family out there who'd be utterly thrilled if you canceled because they are also exhausted. And some people won't be. Some people might take it personally. And the way to do that is always to frame it in love. Your cancellation is not a withdrawal of your love for them. Your cancellation is self-preservation. Sally, I'm absolutely shattered. I really wanted to see you. What I realize is I need to just take some time to rest. Let's reschedule. You don't actually have to give any reasons when you say a no. We tend to, and then we tend to white lie. And I think people can smell white lies. So this year, see if you can just speak your truth. If you're letting somebody down or you're saying no, or you don't want to go somewhere, say it with as much love as you can. Just say a nice firm, I'm not coming, or I'm not going to make it, or I'm not able to attend. Because you're not, because you're exhausted. Or you can just say, I'm bloody exhausted. I'm not coming. And people will respect you for that. So with overwhelm, what we want to do is actually try and lighten the load. And at the very least, we can lighten the mental load. Now, I acknowledge you might be watching. You've got a bunch of kids. You've got so many things to do. You don't even know, what your bum from your elbow. I don't know the saying. And you legitimately might be saying, you know what? I can't put any of these down, or there are very few things I can put down. And I am just going to now take this moment to accept that the next 7 or 8 days before I finally get to rest are going to be quite challenging. And I'll need to take a moment for myself every day to breathe and find time for me. Because a lot of the eating that happens at this time of year under the overwhelm is coming from a place of it's the only time of the day where you are doing something for you and your body is screaming for rest. It's the only thing getting you to stop. That's why it's brilliant. And that's why we do this work year after year, to lighten the load so that your body's not having to be forced to find ways to shut you down because you're so exhausted and so overwhelmed. This is a practice. If you can lighten that overwhelm by 5-10% this year, brilliant. If you still binge anyway, be kind with yourself. You're going to have another opportunity to practice all of these things. Well, certainly next year, right? Next festive season, take the lesson that you took too much on. Take the lesson. You've got to find ways to give yourself more space, and take the lesson. You're not a robot and you don't have endless, limitless energy and hours in the day. Take a lesson, a little bit of humility, going, wow, I'm realizing that actually I thought I could push for 16 hours, but actually I can only do 10, right? It's not a failure, it's truth. So let's take what lessons we need to, but you can also give yourself a bit of pride. If you've watched this video and done this exercise, you've probably shaved 5 or 10% of overwhelm off. You're moving the needle in the direction of freedom every time you do this. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill. And the festive season is a skill that you can get better, or surviving it is a skill that you can get better and better at. So I wish you so much food freedom this year. I hope this exercise has helped. Lord knows we'll be doing it again next year for everybody. And just each year, you can be feeling that little bit more rested, feeling that little bit more free around your to-do list, let alone food. Then we're starting to win. Moving you in the direction of freedom is not an overnight job. It's not a quick fix. But if you manage it through this year and you're excited about creating more freedom in your life next year around food, then remember, check in the description, connect with me, because we want to get a nice 12-month lead up so that this time next year, you're coming at this season in a totally different way with so much skills practice and so many mental shifts that are just starting to automate themselves, that you'll find, there's no doubt in my mind, when you do your review at the end of next year, you'll be looking back at this year and realizing just how far you've come. Speaking of which, I'll be going live at lunch again in 2 weeks' time, and I think it's Monday the 29th, and we'll be doing, I love this exercise, we're going to be doing a year in review, where we reflect on where you've come from, where you are now, what's improved, what needs work, and more importantly, what's going to keep you stuck and what you need to do about it. So we'll set some beautiful intentions, not goals. I'm not a big resolutions person, but I think having a clear sense of focus for the year ahead is really important. And if food freedom is your focus, if that's something that you feel absolutely committed to working on next year, then that live at lunch is going to be a wonderful way to set the foundations for that, so that you can truly be experiencing a totally different level of food freedom this time next year. All the best. Have a wonderful festive season. I'm going to catch you on the 29th as we prepare for the year ahead. Thanks for joining me. Pop all your questions, etc. in the comments. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button so we can get it out to more people who struggle with food at this time of year and overwhelm. And hit subscribe if you haven't already. It'd be good to see you here on a more regular basis. All right, lovely. Have a wonderful Monday, and onwards and upwards to your freedom.